It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
I'm doing well. I have to go see Suspiria. I have to find a theater and go see this movie.
You have to find a theater. Wait,
it's not playing in that many places. The local AMC here, there's starting this weekend. If I'd gone during the week, I might have been able to make it to like a 6 o'clock show. No, now the Friday has passed. It's starting this weekend. It's playing on one screen at 9:15 p.m. That's it.
Wow. So
I've got to find someplace else because it's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
I'm not starting that at 9:15.
No, that's not smart. We're gentlemen after all.
So I gotta go find it this afternoon. I gotta go find a theater so Andy and I can talk about both versions of Suspiria.
Because you're going to do that, right? There has been a call to action for you guys to do a very special, a VSE.
Yeah, I guess it's very special.
Oh, it's special. It's wackadoodle crazy.
Yes, it is. Well, we did a couple of years ago. We did the John Carpenter thing, and we went and saw John Carpenter performing his scores live, and we talked about that. So since it was I guess like last year around this time we saw the 1977 Suspiria, and I know he had been eager to do that as I think a series. He wanted to fit that in to do like both of those on the main show. And
that's funny.
So, but then when I saw an opportunity to see Goblin perform the score live, I said, Andy, we have to do this. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And it's right around the time that the new Suspiria came out. So now I got to find a place to go see it this afternoon so we can, in the near future, record a little very disturbing episode about it.
Well, I can't wait for the episode. I'm still not entirely sure that Suspiria is going to be something for me for any number of reasons. It sounds like you really just pick one. It's going to be not my kind of movie.
No, I wanted to know how like crazy it was, and I asked Andy about it, and he said, "Well, yeah, the original is 90 something minutes. This one's 2.5 hours long. There's a whole lot more crazy packed in there." So.
Oh, that's good. Well, I can't wait for you to find it, see it, and it makes for a fine Saturday matinee conversation.
Okay, so in addition to that, I decided to do something else to myself this weekend.
What's that?
So, well, I'm flicking around in Netflix looking for something.
Did you just say you're flicking around in Netflix? Is that what you? Is that the verb?
I'm flicking around because it's scrolling, but you're hitting the button to click, whatever, in Netflix, and there's this Orson Welles thing. There's the last movie he ever directed, The Other Side of the Wind, plus the documentary about that movie. So last night I watched The Other Side of the Wind because I thought, let me watch the movie before I see the documentary. I don't want the documentary to taint my opinion of this movie. I don't want to have any preconceived notions about his last film. So I watched The Other Side of the Wind, and oh my gosh, this guy, he started this in like 1970, and I think the little text that scrolls by at the beginning, I think it was like 5 years he spent shooting this thing, and gets, it's like a Terry Gilliam thing. Like there's all kinds of financing issues and legal issues that tied this thing up. And he passed away in 1985. So I start watching this, and then I'm realizing this is shot in the early 70s. It's like full on Soderbergh crazy, where he's got a film within a film. So the whole thing is John Huston plays this director who has made this film. So you actually get to see good chunks of the film that this director has made, but the whole sort of structure is it's his 70th birthday party, and the way that they chose to shoot it was sort of like a documentary film crew or various media, reporters and all this. So it's in this house, and everything is like, I guess it's trying to go for like handheld, but because the equipment in the day, I mean, there's just lights all over the place, and there's cables and microphones and everything, but trying to get that right there in the moment. I mean, if he had digital cameras like now, I mean, this is why I say it's Soderbergh. It's just so like off the cuff, feels like improvised, light, just shooting to shoot stuff. Peter Bogdanovich plays like this other director that's like his buddy. It's insane that he was trying this in the 70s. And it just has this great feel to it, this great like raw energy of you're just getting these snippets of conversations. There's a larger story going. It's amazing. I don't think it works quite as well as I hoped it would. It's very much of its era, but just what he was trying to accomplish is astounding to try to pull this off in the 70s.
So I think that's a really interesting bit of commentary, particularly about Orson Welles. And I think of it in the context, sometimes you see these movies and you think, my goodness, this director or this writer is out of their time. Like they were born at the wrong time.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that when you like Orson Welles was making a certain kind of film because of the tools of the technology that he had largely influenced by what he had available to him at the time. What if you take those sensibilities and you add it to, the technology we have today? Like, what would Orson Welles have done with an army of shooters with iPhones? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's color footage, there's black and white footage, and some of the footage is kind of grainy, but there's other pieces, and I'm assuming this is stuff that was shot and nothing ever happened with, because it's just such a clean digital transfer. I'm looking at this, I'm like, this image is so clear. It looks like they shot this today, but no, these are actors from, 40 years ago. And my wife is like, wait, I'm confused. Who is that? That person looks familiar, but they don't quite look right. I'm like, well, yes, because it's 2018, but you're seeing somebody from the 70s. It really messes with your sense of time with some of these faces of that's a familiar face, but it looks like a new movie, but it can't be because they're not the right age for that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It's bonkers. But yeah, it's definitely worth seeing. I think there's some issues with the story. He's trying to say a lot about Hollywood and making movies and all of that. And I think maybe he needed a little bit more work on that story structure, but overall, just definitely worth seeing for what he pulls off. And then the film that's within the film, which is actually called The Other Side of the Wind, is very much like Orson Welles going for like a late 60s, 70s, like youth culture thing. But that's what the director in the movie is going for. It's just lots of layers, lots
super
of fun.
Meta.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and check out that documentary to get a little insight into that. Just, do a little bookend. That's my other goal for this weekend.
You're a real you're a real cineast right now. You're really jumping in, and yes. I don't have anything to live up to what you've done, but I do have something to bring to the table.
What are you bringing?
It's called. I have to say, this was totally new to me. It is both generally outside of my wheelhouse, but also completely new to me, and I'm filling out a catalog here. It is called He Knows You're Alone. I've
heard of this. I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Is this the, tell me, because I'm going to just stumble around. What is this?
Well,
I know the name.
It's a slasher film. Right. Okay. It's a slasher film that comes from. It was right after Halloween, and it is largely credited with being the. This is not a great thing to be credited with. It's largely credited with being the first film to have been inspired by the success of Halloween. So. It's the first follower. It's the first follower, right? It stars Don Scardino and Caitlin O'Haney and Elizabeth Kemp and so a whole bunch of people that you haven't heard from much lately. James Rebhorn's in it. Dana Barron is in it, but it's also the first feature film debut of a very young Tom Hanks.
Oh my! Okay.
Now I am not in the camp of having even heard of this. Right? I heard that it existed only last night and said, "Hey, this is a nice break from Once Upon a Time in America."
Okay.
And so I'm going to watch this for a little bit, and I found it, and I need to share the link with it. It's not great, but it is really fun and dumb to watch, and it's one of the. It reminds me so much of movies that have stood on its shoulders, it and its ilk's shoulders. Scream, and it's like Scream, but if it was taken very seriously. So you're treading in dark territory here. You're at the 4.9 on the IMDb scale. You're getting into not great.
This is.
It's not a great film. No. And that is weird. When you say dark territory, I mean, we're about to make the turn. I think there is an IMDb 6-star corollary, which is at some point it falls so far below 6 stars that it's worth seeing again. And
sure.
I don't know if I'm there yet. I think Tom Hanks brings a lot of weight to this, but I'm getting dangerously close. So,
okay.
This is one of those that is right now. It is available on the service that is watching us at all times, knowing when we send people to those links, and then immediately rips them from us. And so I'm not speaking its name in any sort of ill will. Just know a quick search. If you do it today, you'll probably find it. But the act of me noticing it has made it put it at risk.
Okay.
I looked for news, honestly, for other things that I was interested in talking about, and frankly, the only thing that comes up that is just it is just the fact that Hollywood is on fire, and watching the Westworld and most recently Westworld Western set, but the Warner Western set burn is it's really sad. Knowing that it's a set and people are expert at building sets, they'll get it fixed pretty quick, I imagine. But it's really sad to watch and to watch the damage that's going on in that area, and so.
Now, did you see my little gift to our own little Tommy Handsome?
No, did you send him a water bottle of some sort?
No. He's moderate. Well, let me just say, I'm prepping for our next Trailer Rewind episode. So I watched Scott Cooper's film Hostiles, which was somebody's trailer pick, yours, maybe Andy's. I can't recall right now. But in that film, which stars Rory Cochrane, is a character named Master Sergeant Thomas Metz.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I still haven't seen it. I think it was actually my pick, but I still haven't seen the movie.
So I heard him say
Thomas
Sergeant,
Metz.
Christian Bale's Sergeant Metz or whatever. Then he calls him he says Tommy, and I'm like, wait, this guy's name is Tommy Metz. This is too strange. What is going on? So I checked. Yes, I thought of all the things. He's made his mark on Hollywood out there. They're naming, minor characters in films after him now.
That's fantastic. I think we should start calling him Master Sergeant.
I think we should.
Noted. I've got to find a way to change his nickname in Discord.
We'll do
that. Right. What'd you think? Did it meet your expectations?
You'll have to wait for the Trailer Rewind for that.
Come on, man! I'm an insider.
It's Scott Cooper.
Yeah.
It's Scott Cooper. I haven't seen any of his other things, unfortunately. This one I did enjoy. I guess I was feeling in the mood for a Western, and this one delivered what I needed. And it's got a really, really a lot of familiar faces in here. It's basically a road trip story. So you've got lots of sort of little episodes along the way, and a lot of little familiar faces that show up. Definitely worth it. It's on Netflix. Yeah, check it out. I think not one for the kids.
No,
definitely not one for the kids. But
not one for the kids. It is what I've actually been waiting for. It. I need to finish that helps me complete the catalog. His next film is a fantasy horror thriller that crossed my screen, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, that somebody sent me the link to it, because it's a small town Oregon teacher. So anytime the word Oregon seems to be Oregon. A small town Oregon teacher and her brother, the local sheriff, become entwined with a young student harboring a dangerous secret with frightening consequences. So, who knows? It's based on a short story called The Quiet Boy, but it stars Kerry Russell, Jesse Plemons, Jeremy Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Love that Kerry Russell. Graham Greene's in it. And Rory Cochrane.
See, okay.
Reprising his role. No, he's not. He plays somebody different. He's not Tom Metz. Amy Madigan's in it. Wow. It's a good cast, right?
Yeah.
Antlers. Be on the lookout for Antlers.
Okay.
Anyhow, that's what I got. Shall we do trailers?
We shall.
You need to talk about the zoo.
I need to talk about the zoo.
Yeah.
Because just when you think there's not a new way to handle zombie movies, somebody comes up with this, which is, at first I wasn't quite sure if we were dealing with zombies, because we have a husband and wife in their apartment, and they're talking about sort of going into lockdown mode and how to prepare if they try to come in. And I thought, well, who's they? What's going on? So we have a little small, I guess, going full independent, single location as far as I can tell, with a small cast. Take two people, put them in a small apartment, and have something horrible going on outside. And then, of course, some people show up that need help. So they let this other couple in, and now it becomes the tension of, well, wait, this is our place. Maybe we shouldn't let these people stay here. They've been here a while. They're eating our food. And then, of course, the couple that's moved in is thinking, we could just kill them and take their place and have this stuff for us, creating some really intriguing dynamics. All, of course, with, zombie apocalypse going on outside. This is Zoo, written and directed by Antonio Tublin, which I do not know his stuff. He's a Swedish filmmaker. Trying to find this on IMDb is really difficult because it's just called Zoo.
It's terrible. What do you search for?
And then it's Zoolanders and Zookeeper's Wife and all kinds of things. So
it won't come up.
Really challenging. You have to search for Zoo exact match. And then there's another movie called Zoo coming out in 2018 as well. This one, I don't know when it's going to show up. It's only played, it came out October 5th, played a festival. That's really all I have. It was the Stiges, Stiges Film Festival. But that's all I've got on this. But this looks like the perfect trailer rewind movie for, I don't know if it might give JJ a heart attack. I don't know. But I love just a film that's so character focused. I am, cautiously optimistic because something like this can get a little repetitive. Do they have a good story arc for these characters? But throw in zombies. I'm all in for something like this. Just looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, what I liked about the trailer is that it doesn't appear like they're trying to do anything to cure the zombie apocalypse or find the humanity in the zombies, which is dumb, right? They're just set in a universe in which zombies exist, and
something's happened.
Yeah,
and they just need to make it through day to day.
Here's the thing, though.
Normal people. Yeah.
Part of what ends up, I think, where a lot of zombie stories end up going, like taking a hard left into some territory that we really don't, that really doesn't connect as well, is when they start down this sort of moral road of look at all the zombies, and still the most dangerous thing is us. Right?
Yes.
And you get this in The Walking Dead. My goodness, that sort of, what was it? The Negan pivot in season 7, 8 was really hard. I mean, they even lost their way earlier in season 3, 4 when they forgot that we're showing up for the zombies, people. Like, we're showing up for how you exist in the zombie. And they went so hard into the man versus man kind of
yes.
And they sort of forgot why the whole thing exists. This movie, I think, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how they navigate that, because it is, on the surface, looking at the trailer, it is that story, right? It's these people prepping for living in this universe with zombies, and then they meet other people, and it's them versus the other people. It suddenly becomes that kind of a game. And I don't know how interested I am in that, but it's got the zombies, and so I'm going to be there.
Oh, yeah. I don't have high expectations. This is a Saturday afternoon. I'll put it on, I'll watch it, and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Well, it's an
otherwise-
8 currently on the IMDb scale, with a stunning 5 people showing up to rate it so far. So,
and let's see, one of those is Antonio Tublin, and the other one
Zoe
is
Tapper
Zoe
and
Tapper and Ed Spillers. Yes.
yes. Anyhow, no, I'm actually looking forward to it. I can't believe you beat me to it this week. This seems right up my alley. If JJ has a heart attack, I'll be there.
Okay.
All right. My trailer.
Yours is just as messed up. Yours is more disturbing than mine.
Oh yeah. I'm actually sort of surprised that you didn't get mine. This comes from writer-director Daniel Goldhaber. It's Daniel's first feature film, written by Daniel and Issa Mazay. And it stars the young and talented Madeline Brewer. Now you think to yourself, Madeline Brewer? Who's this Madeline Brewer? Well, Madeline Brewer had her debut in Orange is the New Black, and went on to Stalker, the TV series she did. She's been in a bunch of Hemlock Grove, and a little bit of Grimm. She's all over the place. She's most recently, you will have seen her in The Handmaid's Tale. So she's in a bunch of stuff, and she's in a bunch of really good stuff. And now she's in Cam, and it's a weird story. She plays a cam girl, like working in porn, where she, you know how cam works, right? People,
no, we don't. Pete, explain it.
I don't know. I mean, I've been told by a millennial how this works, and so apparently she's been replaced. She tries to log into her account one day, and there's somebody else that's her already in it and doing some very strange things as her. And so it is a story about social media. It's a story about identity, what identity means, in this age of voyeurism. It looks pretty violent. It's from Blumhouse, and so that it says a lot. Right now, it's cruising at a firm 7 on the IMDb 6-star rating scale, with 192 people reporting in who have seen this. Not only that, it's gotten some notoriety. I mean, it premiered at Fantasia International Film Festival. It won their Best First Film and Best Screenplay. And so it's got a little bit of awards credibility coming behind it. So looks really good. And it's coming right up. In fact, if you want to see it next week, you can. November 16th. It premieres on Netflix. You know what? I even have this wrong. It looks like it's already on Netflix. You can go get it on Netflix right now if you want to see it.
What?
So, yeah.
I can pull that up right now.
You can pull that up right now today and see this. So,
all right.
There you go.
Later, I'm going to watch this.
Yeah.
No, see, you missed one piece.
What's that?
You failed to mention all the things about social media, identity, but her drive to have better ratings. It's like she fakes she cuts her throat. I mean, prosthetics and all this, special effects, but to do shocking things to get the better ratings. That's driving her towards this. And I think that plays into, at least from the way the trailer presents it, it's after pulling the stunt like that her account gets taken over by someone else. So I'm really curious about what this is going to attempt to say about this whole drive for, always upping the game, to do something more extreme, more shocking for these, whether it's the cam industry or even just, I would translate this to, the YouTube channels and the drive to keep your viewers and ratings, all of those things that lead us to do ridiculous, embarrassing things to get this attention. So I'm really intrigued by this one. It looks really disturbing. So I don't know when I'm gonna sit myself down for that. And what is very interesting is I was looking to see that I know there was another trailer you were considering picking, and if you had picked that one, you would have also been talking about Madeline Brewer, because she is also in Captive State, which you were considering as a trailer pick. So she's all over the place all of a sudden. With really interesting projects. So
yeah, I think she is. I think it's going to be interesting. This film, I wasn't sure what to make of it. When the trailer spins up, it looks like a movie that it is. It turns out not to be. So, yes. I was fascinated by it, and So I think it's probably worth seeing. I was wrong. I was wrong twice in a row. I was actually right, then wrong again, then right again. It actually opens on Netflix November 16th. So hang tight for a few more days. I can't see it. You can't see it. You're not allowed to see it for
next
a few
week,
more days.
next Friday.
Yeah.
So we could talk about it next Saturday.
We could. We probably won't. Who are we kidding?
I don't know.
We have other things.
You just schedule time and say, I'm going to watch this Friday night. Family, go do something else. I'm going to go watch a cam girl. And then explain that one to your kids.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. All right. Let's talk about the list.
Oh, this list. This week.
How'd you do?
They did it to us.
The list was...
did I pick the right thing? Because I think it was... I didn't check yesterday to make sure there wasn't like... as we have here in Arizona's election, some last minute ballots coming in that are flipping things around. So
I stopped when I saw it was typecasts, right?
Yes,
it was actors who have been from, and we were talking about it based on Once Upon a Time in the West, the casting of the fantastic Henry Fonda as the bad guy, as an actor working against type. And so we decided to look at what are our favorite movies, or I would even say for me, I was just not even our favorite movie, but my favorite surprise in seeing an actor play a character that is so wildly against what I expected of him. Not even that it was necessarily a favorite. So
yes,
so that's where I ended up.
These are the surprises, the pleasant surprises, things that worked for one of them. We'll see. I've got some backups here because I don't know what turf we're going to get into with everybody here. But there's one that is it changed my opinion about an actor.
Really?
Yeah. So
fantastic. Well, I look forward to hearing that. Would you like to do the honors today?
Okay. Where do I start with this one? Because I'm trying to bring. All right, I'll start with the fringe one, the one that people probably haven't seen. Okay. I'll start us off with that. That's my safety, and I don't think you're going to steal this one. I hope, and then we can battle it out further.
Well, you're going first, so I can't steal it yet. I mean,
no, but my other ones that I haven't got to, I'm leaving these open to theft from you, so we will see. But this one, I'd heard a lot about this, and I do have a trend when I look at my list. I have a lot of actors that are known for comedy that then go into dramatic roles as a sort of as their career matures. This one, it's a really it's not a pleasant film to watch, but to see Steve Carell in Foxcatcher was just I mean there's some prosthetics on his face, but just you can't even see Steve Carell in there at all, and it's a film that I'm glad I watched. It's a story that fascinates me, and it was nothing that I would have ever expected to see him in at all, and it's just one that really caught me off guard. That I view him in a completely different light, seeing what he is able to just pull off, sort of just creepy, weird. Oh, and it's such a great film. I mean, a great cast. You've got Steve Carell, Channing Tatum, Mark Ruffalo, just pulling this movie together, but it's not an entertaining story at all. I mean, it is. I guess I can't say I enjoyed this film. It's one of these, I'm glad I watched it. But it's so dark and depressing and tragic. And to say, oh, it's Steve Carell, that guy from The Office. You just, what? This does not compute at all. But he works so well in this role as John DuPont. So that's my first.
That's a great pick. That was actually a steal for me. That was high on the list. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well done. My first one is a film from 2000, and I need to figure out where this came in this actor's canon, right? Right around 2000. It's an actor who's done a lot of things, and I don't recall seeing this actor ever do a film quite like this. He tends to approach roles with a fairly similar, we'll say, demeanor. And so when I saw this film, when I see his character, this fine doctor, Norman Spencer, when he turns into a murderer at the end, staging a suicide of his fine wife, Claire Spencer, in Robert Zemeckis' What Lies Beneath. I was genuinely floored, not necessarily because I didn't see the twist coming, but because it just seemed like such a crazy thing for Harrison Ford to do with his career. It seemed very strange. I enjoyed the movie. It isn't one of my favorites, but I just love seeing Harrison Ford in that role when he has that little monologue with his wife, and she is paralyzed in the tub as it's filling up, and he's describing to her why it was so hard to lay in the cold water in the bathtub himself, pretending to have been electrocuted. I was just really, I was really floored by that performance. And it was written by Clark Gregg, Agent Coulson. Did you know that?
I did not, and I have never seen this one.
Well, now I've spoiled it.
No, that's fine. It's not one that was high on my list. And there was something about the trailer for this one that just made me what's pulling me to see this? I love Harrison Ford, but it just felt like, what is this story really about?
Well, it's like anything else. I mean, and I don't think the trailer did a good job of saying, because the trailer is all about the mysticism, right? And you know, all of these movies, there is mysticism, and then there's what really happened. And the trailer focuses on the mystery, and if you're not grabbed by that, then you're not grabbed by anything. But in this movie, it is a pretty fantastic little twist in our main character, and definitely it's funny because it's not like he goes into this crazy, like he's not wearing age makeup, he's not this other character. It's Harrison Ford. He's just doing the same stuff, but as a bad guy, and I found that really really good. So there you go. What Lies Beneath, 2000.
Okay. Wow.
What's your number 2?
Ford is the bad guy. Okay, let's see. I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to go with a person known for drama that ventured into comedy. And this wasn't her first attempt at comedy, but I think this is one of my favorite. When Meryl Streep decided, I'm tired of being serious and I'm going to do something silly. When she teams up with Albert Brooks in Defending Your Life, it is, I don't want to say it's a guilty pleasure around this house because I don't think we should feel guilty about it. I think it's just an overlooked one. And I know if you're not an Albert Brooks fan, this may not be your thing, but for me to see this side of Meryl Streep and just to see her let loose and having fun in the story just made me appreciate her talent that much more. And for me, it's just a really uplifting and positive story about sort of overcoming anxieties and fears and really embracing life to the fullest. And I think she just did a great job with working with Albert Brooks on this one.
I think so too. And actually that's one of those that's on my list. But that was on my list, but because of the Andy Nelson can't talk about the films we've done on the show rule, I felt like I was limited to it. There is, in fact, fine. Is there another film by, let's just say, an actor in that movie that makes it to your list?
Is there another film? Another actor in Defending Your Life
that's on your list? Yeah. Can I say that? There is? Okay. Then I'll stop talking.
No, that's fine. Well, okay. So if we're going to do the Andy Nelson rule, then I could also say the other comedy that Meryl Streep was in, it was the Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
Is another one that I, but again, Andy's not here.
No, he's not here. I just want to make sure that I'm living up to the expectation, because we'll hear about it when we screw it up.
I know. We'll hear about it because he already called us both out on the whole In the Name of the Father thing.
Oh yeah, so, no, that was a real treat. Yeah. That's a real treat. All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to hold off until
he can just do the show by himself next week. That's what he can do.
Okay. Then I'm going to do my next one, which I will also do just to rile him up that he wasn't here to do it himself.
Okay.
Can I do that? And that is the very young, and this is, you can now imagine why I ended up watching He Knows You're Alone, going down this rat hole, because I was researching Road to Perdition. You remember this one?
I've
2002.
Heard it, but not seen it.
You have not seen it. Oh, Sam Mendes did this film, and it's a mob story. And as it happens, Tom Hanks, he plays the young Sullivan the Hitman. And there is some amazing work done in this movie. It is just a beautiful adaptation of the original graphic novel. And when my goodness, when the characters, the mob sort of, I don't even want to talk about it because I really want you to see it, but the mob goes out into the street in the rain and Tom Hanks is standing in the dark and he just lays waste to them in a beautiful slow motion. It's a Tommy gun kind of a sequence. And I find it really terrific to watch. And Tom Hanks, Paul Newman, Daniel Craig, like you can't really go wrong with these people. So
I think I suffered from there were certain expectations and there was a little bit of I don't want to say backlash. It just lots of talk about how this failed to live up to expectations at that time. And I don't know if that was fully on Tom Hanks or Sam Mendes or where things went, but I just remember this one being, oh yeah, it's okay. But I'm looking at the cast. I'm looking at 7.7, stars. Yeah. And again, I think perhaps one that now that I've got some distance from it, worth revisiting. But again, it just isn't one that comes up a lot of like, oh, this is an overlooked gem that people have forgotten about. So, but
no, it really doesn't come up. It's for me, it just comes up as a good movie. It's not it's not overlooked. It's a movie I really enjoyed, and I think it's worth seeing. There's some beautiful sequences in it, and again, so that's how I end up down this little rabbit hole that Tom Hanks. I remembered this movie and I thought, wait, has Tom Hanks ever played a killer in any other movie? And then that led me to He Knows You're Alone, and he's not the killer in that movie, I should say, but I really wanted him to be, and so I watched it. I was disappointed. So anyway, that's my number 2. What's your number 1? How do you even choose?
Yeah, I know. Well, because I had Tom Hanks, but I had Tom Hanks in Philadelphia as the other,
No, I hear
piece.
that.
But that's one that, I think a lot of people expect.
Yeah.
That one.
Maybe. Well, I wish you had seen Road to Perdition so you could tell me if you think this is a fair pick. So
no, I think it's a fair pick. I think for me, it was Philadelphia was the first time he really tackled something, a little bit darker and more dramatic. Yeah. But I agree, playing a villain or, something, it is definitely still unexpected for Tom Hanks. Even in Philadelphia, it's like, well, yes, here's a comedian, a guy that's known for comedy doing drama, but still a likable guy. Mm-hmm. And in Road to Perdition, is he a likable guy? Or is he just, a bad guy or I guess an anti-hero?
Yeah, right.
Type of thing. Okay, well, I've got 2 on my list. All right, well,
we're going to have a significant bonus round because I have a whole bunch I'm not done listing.
All right, well, I'm going to move that one over the bonus round. I'm going to talk about this one because, as I alluded to earlier, there's one, and I don't want to necessarily say casting against type, but for me, it was a different challenge for this actor, a different type of role, and again, something that really changed my opinion of him because there's some actors that just, are known for sort of playing themselves. It's like you cast this person, you know what you get. They're going to be a box office draw because they play themselves basically. Mm-hmm. And for me, when Oliver Stone cast Tom Cruise in Born on the 4th of July, I saw a different Tom Cruise. I saw an actor that was going outside his bounds. Here wasn't the glamorous, martini twirling guy from Cocktail. It wasn't the charismatic fighter pilot from Top Gun. Here was somebody that really went on a gritty, ugly journey. And for me to see Tom Hanks make that transformation, he earned my respect at that point. And I think he's gone on to prove his range. But for me, this was a key pivot point because it's not the type of role I had expected him to take on. And for me, that's why I'm going to put him on my list for this one.
That's a good one.
Most people will expect Collateral because he's doing the whole I'm the bad guy thing. But for me, it was really Born on the 4th of July was a big pivot.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think that's the one for me too that changed the way I think about Tom Cruise. Although I am a big fan of his portrayal of Vincent the sociopath. I'm with you. I think I would have put 4th of July on there too. Although I haven't, I know I haven't gone through his catalog in one rush ever.
Andy did. Didn't
so,
Andy just?
Yeah,
finish
I think
that
he just did that. So I'd be interested to know kind of what where that lands. My final one, I think I'm going to do a little bit of a twist too. I'd like to talk about Clementine Krasinski, but this is maybe our entree to bonus picks because I think I get a twofer on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh yes, yeah, you do.
Everybody talks about Jim Carrey and his sort of dramatic turn here, which is absolutely notable as casting against type for him. But he then went on and did some other things that I think were, lovely and dramatic and dark and trying to fill the shoes of that of kind of the empathy and that Robin Williams brought to his dramatic career, and I think he could have done it in a way that was a little bit more consistent, like Williams did. And I'm curious to see kind of what comes next as he's back on screen again. But this movie really shines as a showcase of two actors that were doing exactly that, like being cast deeply against type, right? Kate Winslet, I think people forget just, kind of where she was in her career at the time. And she's this character, this sort of flibbertigibbet character of hers was just lovely and beautiful and crushworthy. And, it was that sort of id-ego pairing of the two of them, I think was just deeply satisfying in a movie that's as kind of that comes with such depth as this one does. And so I really love celebrating her role in this. And I think Jim Carrey often gets too much of the credit that should be shared between them.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. This film depends on both of them carrying this. But when I saw this in the theater, and I will never forget that this totally encapsulates what people's expectations were for Jim Carrey. Because there's a scene very early on where he gets up, he goes out, sees his car, whatever, is trying to get to work, and the train is there, and he's rushing to get in the train, and the doors close on him, and he's sort of stuck, and people start chuckling like, oh, it's Jim Carrey doing physical comedy. This is funny. And it lasted for all of 2 seconds before they realized, oh, wait, no, this isn't. This is the other side of comedy, the tragic side of things.
We laugh because it hurts, right?
Right. But they were expecting oh, look, he's going to do something silly. And no, this is not that film at all. And you can sort of feel the air get let out of the room in those first few minutes of oh, this isn't going to be wacky Jim Carrey. This is something much more to it. And I agree. Yeah, this is Kate Winslet, known for period dramas and much heavier material. And here, as you said, sort of this lighter side to her. Yeah. That, I haven't seen this in a long time. It's one I need to revisit. I just enjoy relishing the memory of seeing it, I think in the theater, and then when it first came out on DVD, and it's been a while, and I don't want to find flaws in it now. So that's why I'm reluctant, because I love it so much, and I'm torn between either falling in love with it again or saying, oh yeah, but here's these issues. And so that's why I'm reluctant. But
don't see it. Don't see it. Don't mess it up. Just love it, because that's such a meta way to approach this movie, right? It's a movie about memories, and you could just let those memories just wash in your mind.
Yes, I could.
I should say there is because the young Elijah Wood was in that movie.
Yes,
remember that? Yeah,
The Man Without a Face.
Elijah Wood also made my list in another movie, which was Sin City as Kevin the Cannibal.
It's been forever since I've seen that.
Yeah, I
remember him in that.
High on my list. Yeah, with the glasses, he's the buttoned up, and oh man, that was again an against type thing. But Elijah Wood has gone on and done some other things that are against type. So,
yes, he has.
What
Yes,
what else was on? Run through your list of extras.
I just had Albert Brooks in Drive.
Yep,
and
that was
for me. That was a surprise for two reasons. One, hadn't seen Albert Brooks in anything in a while, and two, hadn't seen Albert Brooks just play that type of character before, where it's like, oh, you do have this other side. Where have you been? I would like to see more of this, please. That's the extent of my list, because it started just going on, and I said, let me cut it to these few here. My wife, I did discuss going back to Death Becomes Her, Bruce Willis, because that often shows up, but as we discussed, actually Die Hard was Bruce Willis playing against type, because he was known for TV comedy in Moonlighting, and to cast him as an action person, that was not what he was known as at that time when he was cast in Die Hard. So Die Hard is really the cast against type for Bruce Willis. And then to me, watching him in Death Becomes Her was, oh no, that's the Moonlighting side of Bruce Willis that I recall.
Yeah.
So,
do you feel any sort of remorse that we didn't put Monster on there, Charlize Theron?
Haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Again, one of those where I'm like, that's going to be an unpleasant experience. I don't know when I'm ready to put myself through that.
Well, and I haven't seen Destroyer yet, which is I didn't get Nicole Kidman's.
That was her trailer pick, so that could be.
That's going to be on there. The only other the things that were a little bit easy were obviously Tom Cruise's Vincent and Heath Ledger as the Joker, which is one of those sort of legendary performances, but also gets a lot of press already. And I don't think people remember some of the movies that we've talked about on this list as well. And I also feel guilty that I didn't get any Adam Sandler on here, because I think, Punch Drunk Love and Reign Over Me.
I consider Punch Drunk Love, but I haven't seen it in such a long time. And I remember being a little disappointed with that movie. And so I've been thinking about revisiting, because I don't think I've seen it since I saw it in the theater. And I do recall it was definitely a different Adam Sandler, but I don't know that I can recommend that movie. I got to revisit that one and say, does this hold up? Is this really worth recommending?
Did you see Reign Over Me?
No, I did not.
This is a Mike Binder film, Binder or Binder, I don't know. I'm probably messing it up. With Adam Sandler and Don Cheadle and Jada Pinkett Smith, and it again is a lovely little performance from Adam Sandler, and I think we'll see.
I categorize that as in the we're trying hard for Oscar bait movie, and I just didn't know if it really merited. If it was like emotionally manipulative melodrama, I don't know.
Well, I totally see that. The thing is, if you're gonna like Don Cheadle and Jada Pinkett Smith, because they're likable people. The thing is, are you open to Adam Sandler doing these kinds of roles? And if you can see him not as the college humor guy, if you're there, you might see something of warmth in this performance, because it's quite something. So,
and that was the other thing. This was let's use 9/11 as
that was
storytelling, and I just struggle with that. Let's use that, because to me it's like a shortcut to just tapping into emotions rather than earning it. You're just going to be like, well, this is easy we're going to bring this up, and that's going to just do a lot of work for me.
The problem with that is that first of all, I almost think too soon.
Yes.
This film was in 2007, and I think, making it a narrative device, you could have chosen anything. You could have made it a fictional trauma, right? This is a story of recovery of trauma, and it could have been anything, and they made it 9/11, and I think that was possibly a mistake. So there's a lot to look past in this movie, but again, if you want to see an interesting against type performance, that's one to check out. There you go. Nice list.
Yeah.
This was hard because of for me, because of this was a Curse of Riches list. There were a lot of wonderful performers who took on some difficult roles. So there you go. So here we go. We have to talk about next week. Have you seen?
No.
You have not seen this movie.
Duck You Sucker?
This is Duck You Sucker, or Fistful of Dynamite, or Once Upon a Time, ellipses, The Revolution. All right.
No.
Well, that puts us in a challenging place here. There is one that I think is a lock. There's one category that is a lock. And early in the film, a young Rod Steiger is he plays a Mexican peasant, and he is thrown onto this super beautiful shishi carriage, and in the carriage you have representatives of the elite, right? You have a priest and a rich woman and some sort of businessman, something like that. They're all eating this lovely meal as they careen across Mexico in this horse trailer, and it's an incredible horse trailer. And he gets on here and he's forced to sit in the back and watch as Sergio Leone does exercises what I call this ASMR food porn, where he puts the camera right close up to mouths as people eat stuff, and all you hear is the smacking. I mean, if you have a food anxiety, this is a tough sequence to get through. And so I was talking to Andy about this scene last week, and we decided that disgusting eating sequences in film has to be on the list. So that's number one. All right. Number two, it's a story of revolution, right? It's a story about a revolution. It's a story about, the poverty and inequality, and what these things sort of unlock for people, for humanity, who are, the subservient classes, to do in terms of rising to a revolution. So we could potentially do revolution movies.
Okay, I think that works.
Okay.
Yes, since it was going to be called Once Upon a Time in the Revolution?
Yeah, Once Upon a Time, the Revolution. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
So I don't mean to steamroll you here, but I know since you haven't seen it, right?
I haven't seen this one.
All right.
So.
This is also a movie where James Coburn plays. Okay. First of all, accents are all over the place. So I have this sort of dark horse where I just want movies with the worst accents.
Oh, that's fun.
Okay. But you also have James Coburn as this IRA terrorist who, or revolutionary. He's a revolutionary, right? And he is an explosives expert. And so they blow a lot of stuff up, and he's constantly blowing stuff up. And that's where the title comes from. Whenever he's about to blow something up, he says "Duck, you sucker." That's where it comes from. And
so what? Explosive?
So best explosions in film. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay. No, I love that, because that I want to put in there for that.
Oh, you already have something. That's a sign that I think it might be a fun category.
Yeah, no, that and revolutionary films, and then the eating scenes.
Yeah, disgusting eating sequences.
Disgusting eating scenes. Okay, yeah.
Well, I feel like these are Pete's pet picks for next week's list, but
that works.
Yeah. All right. There you go. I'm excited about that. And let's see, what do we have going on? We've got you're doing when have you guys done Hostels yet? Is that ready to be?
No. We're still trying to lock down a recording date, and my schedule got throwing another wrench in the works. So we're working on finding a date to get that. Andy and I are we are planning on recording our Suspiria next Saturday after the Saturday matinee, because with everything else he's got going on, that seems like a time where we can get that locked down, which is why I need to get out to see it this weekend.
Okay.
And then we've got Film Board coming up, in 2 weeks, I think.
Oh, geez. Yeah. And we're doing, at this point, we're trying The Favorite. We still haven't, I don't think we've locked in whether or not everybody's going to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That wide release is tricky. We are doing as I said, we're moving into recording Once Upon a Time in America. That's what I have going on this weekend. We're both watching the extended director's cut. What's your experience with this movie?
Andy and I talked about that earlier this week. When I recall working in the video store in high school, and I believe there were two versions. And there was like the theatrical cut, which I don't know, it was still pretty long, but then there was, I remember it was like two cassettes, two VHS cassettes, and I want to say it was the longer cut. So for some reason, there may have been video distribution back then, a slightly longer cut. I don't think it was the full version that came out just a few years ago, but I recall there being 2 versions back then. And I believe I saw whatever that longer version was, 40 years ago. So I don't have a lot of memory. I remember Robert De Niro and James Wood and I think Elizabeth McGovern, and that's about all I remember from this because it was an epic story. I was 17 years old and just sort of washed over me with, there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. It is epic, and the extended director's cut does add an extra, I think, 45 minutes. The thing's 4 hours and 18 minutes, all told. Okay. So it's pretty much a British TV season. So I'm going to be binging that this weekend, and I sort of have to think about it that way. If I think about it as one long movie, I just can't. I just can't even. It's too much. But if I think about it as, I just need to catch 4 episodes of Once Upon a Time in America. Oh yeah, I can do that in a day, no problem. So I can work in more. Every 52 minutes, I get a pee break. So.
Okay.
So anyhow, that's my plan for the weekend. But of course, my wife and daughter are out of town, and so my son and I have to find a time to see some movies. Last night, I introduced him to Dumb and Dumber for the first time.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just going to say, as you can imagine, for a 12-year-old, the poop scene was the highlight, the laxative poop scene, and number 2, when she throws a little snow at Harry, and Harry, there was a snowball right in her face. That was number 2. The rest of the movie was kind of even, but those 2 for the 12-year-old crowd, that was big. So, anyhow, That's it. Happy Saturday, Steve. It's good to talk to you.
Happy Saturday. Hondo.